Stardust is simply a wonderful album, featuring a blend of hip-hop, EDM, and pop. The record harkens back to the days of old, but with his roster of genre-pushing collaborators and a mature Danny Brown, the result is something truly fresh in his discography. Now, to be honest, I can't say I was really wowed throughout the whole thing. I have a few notes we'll get to later, but I did find it immensely enjoyable, especially as a Danny Brown fan. Part of what makes this album so special is his position in Danny's career. It serves as both a victory lap and a new beginning. It's triumphant in addressing his newfound sobriety, his romantic relationship, his career, and his identity as an artist. In a sense, his whole career has been working towards this moment. He says it himself.
I've been practicing making this type of album my whole career.
He may mean that in a more sonic sense, but his maturity in his life and in his writing is on full display here. It's been a long time rooting for the guy, and finally hearing something genuinely uplifting and positive like this is cathartic. The other part that makes this album so great is how genuine it feels. Danny has made it very clear that he is weird and he is fine with that. There's really no one that's ever done it quite like him, and that's what set him apart and got so many people to listen. Still, this hyperpop genre blending thing was too skinny jeans for most of his career, and it wasn't until more recently that he realized an album with this sound could find an audience and thrive. Danny again puts it best saying,
"Now this is where it really sounds like Danny Brown for the first time. It just took some time for me to find my people. The type of who were into the type of I was on didn't exist 10 years ago. Now all these kids are genre blending."
The record starts with Book of Daniel. Quadeca's swelling production results in an incredibly grand opening which feels like the final chapter to Danny's struggle to this point.
Now I made it past a decade, who the top got in Tepe? And that's me, the big three, don't give a fuck what they say.
It's the "Hey Look I Made It" track that pays off all the hard work and hunger he shared with us throughout the years. We get more of that on the final track, All For You, which sees Danny celebrating his success and reframing his music going forward as all for the fans.
Now I do it all for you. Now I do it all for you. All for you. Now I do it all for you. Now I do it all for you. All for you.
I'm a real sucker for the stoicism in tracks like this where music helps and saves people. Between those we get the track Starburst, where Danny tackles an insane pair of beats and shows why this whole thing works. He comes through with his signature high-pitched nasally voice along with the necessary flows and creative lines to show that he thrives in the chaos.
Remarkable niggas is just a sparkle. To nuclear, I'm tubular, right with permanent markers. The only thing erases your face if you try to pop up. I'm locking up the game like punishment from your mama.
Most of the tracks are based in electronic dance and have Danny on the verses while his collaborators dish out some poppy hooks. Hooks have been a weak point for Danny, so having people help him was a good choice. Some of them might feel a bit too poppy, but if I'm being honest, they have just enough sauce to work for me. Underscores and 8485 in particular are scratching my brain with Copycats, Baby, and Flowers. While I don't listen to a lot of it, I kind of have a soft spot for house music as well, and Lift You Up does a great job of giving me exactly what I want. It's groovy and high in energy, and Danny makes sure it never gets too repetitive. Whatever the case is an action-packed, energetic thrill of a song. With his pretty goofy beat, Danny comes through with some of his funniest lines, and the show is kind of stolen from me by Isbroki.
Blonde bitch with the LV shades puffin' chronic. On God, know your rap cats on this. I'ma keep my view like a promise, and I know I look like a third white chick. Tyler Perry, me, my style is honest. Me and Danny in the spotlight, bullseye. Quit hating, boy, come out the closet. It's brokey.
I love the energy and the confidence as well as the high-paced flow she brings. Funnily enough, it sort of reminds me of Beeman from Quadeca before he became the artist everyone knows and loves.
I was fucking busy back when they said raw XD. Hit him with a bracket and a semicolon, kept it going. Now these bitches hot as shit like Eddie Snowden.
Regardless, whatever the case has ended up being my most listened to song from this project because it's just so fun and energetic, and going forward I hope that these two will collaborate more. Every time I hear the start of I Love My Life, I'm reminded of By Storm by Injury Reserve, although this track is much more optimistic. Danny raps like he's on cloud 9 with where he is in life, and Fentanyl's overwhelming chorus is intoxicating. There's only really two tracks I'm not crazy about. 1999 is cool, and I honestly think it's a good song. I'm just not that into the style that Janaskis brings. Right From Wrong is a pretty boring chorus, some underwhelming rapping, which I'll be bringing up shortly, and ends with a fairly long narrated passage. Overall, it just feels like the track that does the least. So this record has a lot to love. It's really fun, there are moments that are very touching, and excluding some tracks, it's probably his most accessible record. Perhaps his voice is still off-putting to some, but I suspect it wouldn't be too out there for people who like high-energy dance music. Still, I have a couple of complaints as this is the first step in his new era and I don't think we're seeing a masterwork yet. When discussing working with his collaborators, Danny Brown said these two things.
The way we hear music is going to be totally different, so I wanted to come at it from their perspective. What do you think I should do? What does a Danny Brown record sound like to you? And I can execute my part. And I'd be like, do you. I can rap to everything. Do what you like. Don't worry about what Danny Brown fans will like or what I would like. I'm in y'all world now.
Well, that's awesome and shows his respect and willingness to try new things and learn. The result is Danny Brown feeling like a bit of a passenger on his own album. He's impressively able to rap on all of these different types of production, but it rarely feels like he's thriving. While Danny can do some crazy rapping, his simpler flows feel like the default. They work well enough on the dancey styles of tracks, but it often feels like he's under-delivering with the flows compared to the expectations of a hip-hop project. There's a couple moments where the simple single-syllable AABB end rhymes make it feel like he's rapping in the 80s. The production is just not designed to leave him as much room as a traditional rap beat, and that constriction makes him flourish less. The result is Danny feeling more like an instrument on the tracks rather than the lead vocalist. In that case, you might expect that the production is mind-blowing to compensate for the other compromises, but for the most part, it's just not that wild. I felt I was pretty familiar with most of this stuff, and while that might just be a me problem because I've listened to some hyperpop, I'm really not an expert and went in hoping to be wowed. In comparison to his wildest tracks or even his previous collaboration with Jane Remover, this feels pretty tame. Fortunately, I think Danny Brown somehow, despite consistently being older than all his peers, still has a long career ahead of him. I think as he works more in this new space and gets more comfortable, he'll be able to form a greater vision of what he wants to make, and the result will be a truly amazing album. Until then, this one is pretty great. It's a fun listen, I would definitely recommend it whether it's your first Danny Brown album or you're a longtime fan. Number-wise, I would probably give it around a solid 7. I'm very excited to see what he does in the future. I've been listening to a lot of his music recently, and I've been kind of inspired to make a Danny Brown tier list, but we'll see how that goes. For now, that's all. Please like and subscribe and comment, and check out my other videos if you want. Thank you, and goodbye.